Donald Trump's former White House counselor, Kellyanne Conway, has kind of been tasked by the GOP of helping them figure out why they're so gosh darn unpopular across the United States. I mean, after all, following their not great victory in last year's midterms, Kellyanne Conway was part of the team that the RNC assembled to do their so-called autopsy report to find out why they didn't pick up the 70 seats that they had projected they were going to pick up and instead only had a 10-seat advantage. And Kellyanne Conway, months and months and months after she was tasked with being part of the autopsy report, finally came out and said, listen, we got a problem with our assault on women's reproductive freedom. So Kellyanne Conway has decided to head to Washington, D.C. alongside Independent Women's Voice CEO Heather Higgins. And their job is not to get Republicans to, allow women to have bodily autonomy. No. Like, they're totally cool with taking away women's reproductive freedom. Kellyanne Conway and Heather Higgins' job is just to soften it so women think that they care about women's issues when really they just want to take your rights away. And so far, it's failing miserably. See, Kellyanne Conway believes that the Republican Party should double down right now, even though they've never bet on it in the first place, but she thinks they need to talk about the fact that they totally support a woman having full access to birth control, which is actually ironic because the Republican Party is the reason right now that the Supreme Court announced on Wednesday that they were going to take up the birth control case, which of course could result in women losing access to birth control. So kind of bad timing for your message there, isn't it, Kellyanne? Like, hey, we may not want you to be able to choose what happens to your body, but, we think you should still have birth control. That is until the people we put on the Supreme Court take that away from you, too, at which point we'll just have to reassess and, do a new autopsy report to find out why nobody likes us. So here's what's happening. Kellyanne, as I said, is heading to Washington, D.C. with Heather Higgins, and they're going to tell Republicans to soften the language, right? Make women think we care about them, even though we don't. Essentially, Kellyanne Conway is telling the Republican Party, hey, listen, women are stupid. We can just make them think one thing, even though we're doing the other. So all we have to do is hoodwink millions of women in this country because, they're too dumb to think for themselves. Not a winning message. I'm going to be honest with you, Kellyanne, not a winning message. But you know what else isn't a winning message? Let me read you this. Republicans are like your uncle who really loves you and loves the women in his family, but he's bad about showing it. It's just not in their natural vocabulary, and we're trying to help them learn how to make this be more part of their vocabulary and tell them that they need to talk about these things that their constituents all support and be more visible and vocal. That was actually Heather Higgins saying that, like, Republicans are like your creepy old uncle. He loves women. He's just not that good at showing it. So there you have it, folks. If you want a very apt description of today's Republican Party, it's that creepy uncle who loves women a little too much and doesn't quite know how to control his emotions around them. So there you go. Republicans are your creepy uncle that you always hope is not going to show up for the holiday festivities, yet is always there, usually first one in, last one out. That is the perfect way to describe today's Republican Party. A little too involved in issues they ought not be involved in, and then sitting back and wondering why everybody gets upset with them when they shove their noses where it doesn't belong. Good luck with that message, Kellyanne and Heather. I'm sure you're totally going to be able to fleece more women into thinking the Republican Party actually cares about them.